Hola! Welcome to episode 3 of Raven and Jude reacting to historical archaeology movies. It's very exciting. Today, as you can see, we are in our full librarian mode to watch the oh-so-famous, the oh-so-popular The Mummy. Yes, the Brendan Fraser version of The Mummy, the 1999 version, yes. The good version.
The original.
Yes. So we're going to spill the tea on some mummy action, some Egyptology stuff, because we both studied Egyptology, so, you know, we're actually qualified to do this, don't worry. And so let's do it. Let's go watch that movie. All right, here we go. So, we're going to watch The Mummy now.
Yay!
So,
we have a lot of things today.
We do. Tell us what we have, Jude.
We have falafel, baked
Jude made
falafel.
the falafel.
Ta-da!
Ta-da, falafel.
We have some baba ganoush. We have homemade hummus.
And Turkish bread.
And Turkish bread.
Here we go. Let's watch it.
Ah, yes.
The Sphinx.
The classic Sphinx.
Next to Karnak Temple.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the pyramids.
Everything.
Within the pyramids in Thebes. There are no pyramids in Thebes. Thebes is located in modern-day Luxor and has a lot of amazing archaeological sites that you will be very familiar with, but no pyramids. Pyramids were tombs, and therefore they would not be on the east bank of the Nile, nor would they be in the center of the town. So the east bank is home to the Temple of Karnak and Luxor, and the west bank is an acropolis. So you have things like the Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens,
Colossus of Memnon's there, Deir al-Bahri, which is Hatshepsut's thing,
yeah.
Deir Medina, which is the actual village where they made all the really amazing paintings. Yeah. So all the death stuff, all the stuff for tombs, west bank.
Yeah. Not on the east bank, and not there in general. No pyramids in Thebes.
No, you wouldn't be living near a pyramid. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway. The Sphinx! Okay, I have so many things about the Sphinx. Just like the pyramids, the Sphinx is not in Luxor. It's with the pyramids in Giza. And it's also from the year 2500 BC, which is not when Seti was ruling. That's about 1,000 years before Seti actually was born. Yeah. So first of all, they wouldn't be building it in there, and it was already old.
Yeah,
it was already old when Seti was king.
It was old news, old world.
It's boring. A whole 1,000 years has passed between the Sphinx and Seti the First. So they're not building a Sphinx in Luxor.
Thebes, city of the living, crown jewel of Pharaoh Seti the First.
So, Seti the First, he was a cool guy.
Yeah.
He actually was a real guy.
Yeah.
Ruled in the 19th dynasty of Egypt. And he was responsible for the restoration of the religion, of the temples and stuff in Egypt after the rule of Akhenaten, the guy who made everything monotheism. So he was a really, really cool guy. He also reestablished a lot of Egypt's dominance in Syria and Canaan, in all the provinces. So that was great. And of course, he was the father of Ramses II, the oh-so-famous Ramses the Great. He was kind of overshadowed by his son Ramses II. People forget about Seti. So I'm kind of happy that The Mummy is paying homage to this really cool guy.
Giving him some credit.
I like him.
Yeah.
Imhotep, Pharaoh's high priest, keeper of the dead.
So Imhotep, there was probably several characters in Egyptian history that were named Imhotep. However, the guy that is usually being referenced is the guy that essentially invented the pyramid. He was chancellor to the 3rd dynasty pharaoh Djoser and was the architect for the king's step pyramid located in Saqqara. So he was no magic man or priest, but a lot of people identified him as a god of medicine and healing. And originally he was used as an evil character in The Mummy from 1932.
The original Mummy.
Birthplace of Anaxunamun.
What is she wearing? Is she wearing anything?
It looks very...
It's just paint.
Yeah, what is she wearing? It looks like...
It's like it's supposed to be the beaded nets.
Yeah.
But it's not beaded. It's body paint. In the movie, Anaxunamun is described as Seti the First's main squeeze, his little hot thing that he has on the side there. But she was actually neither Seti the First's main lady. She was also not in love with Imhotep. The actual name Anck-su-namun comes from actually another real person's name, which is Ankh-se-namun. She was an 18th dynasty queen. She was a daughter of Akhenaten and was also the half-sister / wife of King Tut.
Incest.
Everywhere, yes. Yeah. So what they've actually done is, in this movie, they've taken 3 very prominent figures within Egyptian history from very different points in time and kind of smashed them all together for this hybrid film.
But for their love, they were willing to risk life itself.
Soul patches!
What is she wearing?
Let's talk about accessories.
Seti's everything.
Yeah, Seti. He's wearing the wrong crown. So the thing is, the Deshret crown, that is for Lower Egypt.
And that's the one that Seti's wearing in the
Yeah,
movie.
that's the one that Seti's wearing. And then the Hedges crown is for Upper Egypt. And then there's a Pshent. And the Pshent crown is a combination of both of the other 2 crowns. And it indicates a unified Egypt, which Seti would be reigning over a unified Egypt.
Yes.
So that's what that is. And that is an inaccuracy involving Seti's accessories.
Yes, and he's also accessorizing wrong in a different way. He's got this really cool little soul patch going on his chin there. You know, those little dirt things. People forget to shave those bits off. Never grow a soul patch. In general, ancient Egyptians did not have facial hair. They didn't grow beards. Beards were not a very high status thing. If you were very poor, you would have a beard, maybe. If you were traveling, you would have a beard. You'd even see it when they're in their paintings that the foreigners have beards, but the Egyptians, they do not.
Yeah. Very hairless.
Very hairless, very pristine, perfect bodies, everything. With the facial hair, with the beards, you will notice, though, that they have those big, long, braided beards, both in paintings. The gods always have a nice, big, braided beard, and they say that the pharaohs also wore beards, but they were not real beards. They were these little fake beards that you kind of stuck on your chin, tied it on with a string to show that you were a representation of the gods on Earth. So that's the only way that Seti could have actually been wearing a beard. He would not be having this little fuzz on his chin there. Just shave it off.
Anck-su-namun's soul had been sent to the dark underworld. Her vital organs removed and placed in 5 sacred canopic jars.
5?
Why 5?
Canopic jars! I think those are our favorite things to talk about.
I love canopic jars.
They're like amazing. Look at the jars.
Oh, look at the jars. There are organs inside.
They're so cool. In the movie, there were 5. Canopic jars were used during the mummification process to store and preserve the organs from the mummified body. But there again, there were not 5. There were 4 of them. Yes. And by the 18th dynasty, the lids of the jars, they did vary throughout time, but by the 18th dynasty, the lids of the jars were actually dedicated with the 4 sons of Horus.
We'll start with Happy, the baboon, who held the lungs.
Then there was Duamutef, who was the jackal-headed god that held the stomach.
And Imseti, who was a human head containing the liver.
And finally, the most confusing one is called Kebe-Senuef, pardon my French, that held the intestines, and he was a falcon. There's a lion one in the movie. I have no idea what's in that one, if anyone knows.
Lions, if anything, it would be a cat.
A cat,
a regular,
a cow,
a
crocodile.
Yeah, a hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a cool one.
I would want a hippo. She looks pretty good for someone who had all of her organs taken out. I just realized that.
Also for being dead.
As for Imhotep, he was condemned to endure the Homdai, the worst of all ancient curses, one so horrible it had never before been bestowed.
The Homdai curse. A Hollywood creation. Mummification was a sacred ritual, okay? So there's no evidence of people
being mummified alive.
Yeah, being mummified alive.
No.
It was a whole ritual. There was a whole process. It was an effort to do. You wouldn't go through this effort for somebody that doesn't deserve it. Likely they would have been decapitated or drowned. So, that is not a real thing. No.
That's uncomfortable. At least they're wrapping him the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
The Magi would never allow him to be released. for he would arise a walking disease.
Sometimes, it's the thing, you open sarcophagi and tombs and then diseases come out. It does happen. Smallpox, it happened. It's the only thing I'm terrified about in my career.
Right.
It happening at some excavation.
And for 3,000 years, we, the Magi, the descendants of Pharaoh's sacred bodyguards, kept watch.
The Magi, the epic saviors of the day. They're sort of kind of real, which is interesting. I didn't know about that until I looked into this movie. They originated as an ethnic group in a region that is called Medja, which is located in northern Sudan, southern Egypt, and it's kind of like the area where the Nubians were through all of ancient Egypt. So it's a really cool spot, real people. They were a nomadic tribe related to the Nubians, and they actually served as mercenaries for ancient Egypt. By the 18th dynasty, the Magi were actually an elite police force, and they were very well known for protecting the royal temples in Thebes, the necropoli, things like that. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened to them after the 20th dynasty. They kind of all disappeared and went away. So we're not sure what happened, but they obviously did not last until the 1930s. It's just like very disrespectful.
Also, why would there be a decaying, like a corpse out in the open? Like it would decay within days. Like, it makes no sense.
It doesn't even look like a mummy.
It's not a mummy. It's just a body.
It was supposed to be super gooey then, and Jonathan will be all gooey.
And the Bembridge scholars have rejected my application form again. They say I don't have enough experience in the field.
Bembridge scholars. Not real.
No, that's it. That's all we have to say about them. Yeah.
Are we talking about the Hamunaptra?
Yes, the city of the dead, where the earliest pharaohs were said to have hidden the wealth of Egypt.
Hamunaptra. It's such an epic city name. Unfortunately, it's not a real place. Also, the funny thing is when they're like looking to find Hamunaptra, they're facing the sun. The sun rises in the east, and in Egyptian lore, in their mythology, and what they believe is that the sun goddess Nut gives birth to the sun in the east. It rises in the east, which means the land of the living is on the east. The sun sets in the west, which means the land of the dead is in the west. That means Hamunaptra, it's supposed to be the city of the dead. It should have been in the west. So you should not be looking east to see the sun rising to show you the way to the city of the dead. It just doesn't work.
As the Americans would say, it's all fairy tales and hoax. Oh my goodness!
No!
Okay, that is not.
I was so stupid.
That was so stupid.
It's the 20s. You have light bulbs.
It's also like you literally find like the fact that he's saying how we're scholars or whatever, and he disregards this papyrus. Like
Anyone I know?
Hello again. Jeez.
I do believe that one of the most famous books in history is buried out there. The Book of Amunra. It contains within it all the secret incantations of the Old Kingdom.
the Book of Amunra. Also not real. Created for Hollywood.
I think I just wanted like a big, nice gold book.
Yeah, Book
Shiny.
of Amunra.
Amun-Ra is the sun god, so I guess it makes sense to be like,
The map! I forgot the map!
Relax. I'm the map.
the key, forgot the key. The key.
Can you swim?
Of course I can swim if the occasion calls for it!
Also, swimming in there.
Right?
Hippopotamuses.
This is pre-Aswan Dam.
Yeah.
There are hippos, there are crocodiles.
Yeah.
That was not a smart move.
Yeah.
Hamunaptra.
Can you believe it?
Oh yeah.
Go on, Benny.
He just keeps throwing Benny off. That would have killed him.
So, what are these old mirrors for?
Ancient mirrors. Some ancient Egyptian trick, you'll see. And then there was light.
Hey, that is a neat trick.
So what Evie is doing with these mirrors is, it's cool,
Yeah.
but it's not real. So the mirrors that the Egyptians would have had would have been made out of bronze, and they would have been very small, just very polished bronze. They weren't the most, high-tech mirrors. They're not made out of glass like we have them today. So they're not very reflective. So first of all, they would not be that big to reflect all that light, but also they wouldn't be able to reflect any sort of light that much to light up an entire room. So it's a fun magic trick, but it's not correct in Egyptian history.
Let me get this straight. They ripped out your guts and they stuffed them in jars.
And then they take out your heart as well.
They do not.
Oh, and you know how they took out your brain? They take a sharp, red-hot poker, stick it up your nose, scramble things about a bit, and then rip it all out through your nostrils.
So, removing the heart and the brain from mummies. So they mentioned that the heart was removed from the body when you're mummifying. It's not removed. No. It's never removed. It's kept inside of the body. But it's very protected because the Egyptians believed that the heart was the center of your personality, of your being, your intelligence. And you needed your heart to go to the weighing of the heart ceremony where you weighed your heart against a feather to see how good you were in life, to see if you were able to enter the afterlife. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very important. They did not take it out of the body. It's stuck in there. So that's falsity number one. Secondly, Evie, when she talks about the brain removal, she takes a red hot poker and whips it up into your brain. They did not do that. That's vicious. That's horrible.
Also very disturbing to do.
Yeah. Brains were removed, but they were removed through the use of a longer hook. Sometimes it was also plant-based, so you can kind of get like a little vegetable fiber thing up there. They found evidence of these plant-based hooks or kind of bits in mummies' brains. Yeah. So that is evidence right there. Then they also probably used either some sort of plant material or liquid to actually liquefy the rest of the brain. Then they would turn the mummy over face down so it would all drain out through your nostrils.
Kind of like your sinuses when you have a cold.
Exactly.
Well, who is it?
He that shall not be named.
Voldemort!
This looks like some sort of a lock.
Also, why would they have a lock on a sarcophagus?
They wouldn't.
I am proud of what I am.
What are you, Evie?
I am a librarian.
Yes, girl.
Scarab skeletons, flesh eaters. They can stay alive for years, feasting on the flesh of a corpse.
Scarab beetles are not like this. The film does not treat scarab beetles kindly.
Give scarabs a bad rap.
Very bad rap. Yeah. Scarab beetles do not go under your skin. They do not, I can't say that seriously. They do not do that. They do not eat you, murder you. They push dung around.
They are dung beetles.
Balls. Yeah, they're dung beetles. So they push balls of dung around. And the Egyptians, they saw this as reflecting the sun going across the sky. And so that's why they represented the sun god Ra. Yeah. But that's it. They don't, No. They're not murderous little creatures. No. They're so cute, actually.
They're very cute.
They're
very
cute.
And the scarab, if you found little scarabs in the mummy wrappings, they're for protection.
Yeah.
They're not to eat you.
Yeah.
No, they keep you safe.
They're just poop pushers.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It does exist. The Book of the Dead.
The Book of the Dead. Yeah. Not supposed to bring people back to life.
Nope.
It is to help the souls navigate their way in the afterlife. And the term, the Book of the Dead, is a 19th century name
for the book.
It's not what it's called. Yes, the name of the book actually translates to spells for going forth by day.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, the book itself was not actually codified either, so you could buy as much or as little as you wanted, depending on your wealth.
Yeah. It's custom for that person.
Yeah.
So the second thing about this Book of the Dead that they're all very excited about finding and reading is that it's an actual book. The Book of the Dead was never a book. It was never carved into obsidian because that's absurd. And the other one, the Book of Amunra, was also never a gold book because guess what? They didn't have books back then. They had scrolls of papyrus. The book that we know it today, the actual codex is what it was called, was actually only invented or first seen in the 1st century AD. If you look at any Book of the Dead, they're very long pieces of papyrus, and they are stunning, but they don't have pages. Oh no, a cat!
Why doesn't he like cats? Well, cats are the guardians of the underworld. He will fear them until he is fully regenerated.
On behalf of cats. In the film, they're represented as being the guardians of the underworld. Cats were actually very, very highly revered in ancient Egypt. They were not associated with
death.
Dying. They were very respected, very, very cherished, I suppose. So they actually had a cat goddess named Bastet, who, represented secrets, childbirth, fertility kind of thing. Bastet protected the home from evil spirits and disease, particularly when there are women and children in the household.
I don't know. They just give cats a bad rap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a cat person, but I felt bad for the cats, man. How come they how they were buried straight up.
Yeah.
They're standing up.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be like Amunra coming down? I guess so.
You could write some really cool papers about this. Getting a lot of underworld ancient Greek vibes.
Oh yeah, it's very faces. Yeah, it's very like River Styxy. Yeah. Oh, they got the treasure. Sneaky.
Advocating to robbery.
Again. So that was The Mummy.
Yes.
The Mummy. I still love that movie.
I love
it's
the
so
movie.
good.
And Rachel Weisz in it. Oh my god.
She's just great.
Channeling my inner Rachel when I'm in the library. Right? Not knocking over bookshelves.
Don't knock over the bookshelves. Brendan Fraser in his prime.
Oh. Also, archaeologists are all so sexy in films.
Right? Like, I don't know if we're not that sexy. Of a people in general. Like, we're sexy in other ways. If you like the video, don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well to see more of Jude and I ranting about things. We have a lot of really fun movies coming up in the near future that we're planning on, which are going to be pretty epic. And if you want to, get behind the scenes with us, see our process, the other bloopers that, didn't make the final cut, go support the channel on Patreon, where you get a lot of really cool behind the scenes action. The link to that is in my description below. Don't forget to follow Jude on Instagram, which is right here, Jude's Archives. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And of course, as always, stay dirty, my friends.